The Summer Fairy by Simone C. Schwartz. Cars Park, 2221. Narrated by David Tredinnick. What made me laugh today? What made me nearly swear? What made me wonder how two people can have a parallel conversation and not realise it? Let me tell you. I picked Nicholas up from preschool, and somehow I must have mentioned the ferry not running as frequently in winter as it does in summer. Maybe it was my German accent that started the confusion. Whatever it was, Nicholas started asking me questions. "But why is the summer ferry busier than the winter ferry?" asks Nicholas, aged 4, from the booster seat in the back of the car. "It's too cold in winter, and there aren't as many people, such as tourists, around," I say, distracted by the traffic. "Look at that stupid fried donut." I choose my words because Nicholas is in the car. If he tells his mother that I called someone a fried donut, how bad can that be? Donuts aren't good for you. They're bad, right? It's a decent insult. Is it too much to ask people to use their blinkers these days? An expensive car in front of us didn't use its blinker the whole time we were behind it. I said to Nicholas, "See that flashy car in front of us? Its blinker is broken. Hasn't worked the whole time we've been behind it." Nicholas cranes his neck to look between the seats at the broken blinker. "It doesn't look broken, Opa. Why does the summer ferry want lots of people, like tourists?" he asks. "Does the summer ferry want me?" Apprehensive now. "Yes, lots of people are good for business, to make it worthwhile," I reply. "What does the ferry do with the people?" Nicholas is persistent. "Takes people across the water, drops them off, or they can make a round trip and come back. It's a lovely voyage, quicker than driving, and less frustrating with all these Sunday drivers around. You went once, but maybe it was too long ago and you don't remember. We could do it again this summer," I say. "The ferry has taken me. Wow." Nicholas is impressed. "I can't remember that," he says. "Is the ferry a girl or a boy?" he asks. "Well, traditionally, I guess it's a girl, because they are strong, keep people afloat, and are beautiful." I am pleased with my answer. Not ever having been a sailor, I'm not entirely sure that boats and ships are still always called a she, especially in these gender-neutral days. It, or they, is probably perfectly acceptable. Nicholas seems satisfied with this. "Strong, floating, and beautiful," he repeats. I make a note to myself that Nicholas has become particularly interested in ferries. Last month it was dinosaurs. "Shoot!" I yell out. "Typical. Roadworks when I'm trying to get home in time to watch the Australian Open golf tournament." Nicholas cranes his neck again. "What are you shooting, Opa?" Basketballs. It's called shooting hoops when you play basketball and get the ball through the hoop." I feel quick-witted with that response. "Do you play basketball, Opa?" Nicholas has got me there. "No. You know I play golf. You gave me those golf balls with Opa on them for my birthday. You should see me on the fairway, Nicholas," I boast. "Fairway." Nicholas digests this. "Is that the way the summer ferry goes? On the fairway?" "I think you're old enough. You can come with me. Learn how to swing a club. Never too young or too old for that. After all, Tiger Woods reportedly got his first hole-in-one when he was 6 years old." I blast the horn. It makes Nicholas jump. "Shooting donuts. This person in front of us is having a siesta at the wheel. We are never going to get home. I tell you what, the library is on our way, so let's see if we can find you a book about fairies.
seeing you're so interested in them,
I tell Nicholas. I think my insults are getting better. Next, Nicholas asks,
Is there a book about the summer fairy?
Well, no, not specifically the summer fairy, but maybe fairies in general,
I say.
Okay, but that's what made me frightened before,
says Nicholas. That makes me sit up and listen more carefully.
What made you frightened before?
When you said the summer fairy takes people,
says Nicholas. That threw me. I was completely confused. We've reached the library, so I say,
Come on, Nicholas, let's have a look to see what they've got.
I ask the librarian if there are any children's books on fairies, and she finds a cartoon book. Nicholas takes one look at it and says,
That's not a fairy, that's a boat. I mean a real fairy with wings, like the tooth fairy that's just taken Peter's tooth and left him money.
The librarian and I just look at each other and laugh. That's what made me laugh today. And poor Nicholas, all that talk about taking him and other people away, that's what made him frightened. I explained the difference between a ferry and a fairy.
I thought there was a summer fairy. She sounded so real. She was floating, beautiful and strong,
says Nicholas, disappointed.
Well, there is for us. You and I will always have a summer fairy. She is the one who makes the summer fairy rest during winter, calls the fairy to carry more people in summer,
I tell Nicholas. Hopefully, Nicholas will always remember the summer fairy that summons the ferry. It will be a memory that made his time with his Opa special. It will be part of what made him. The end.